Hello friends, this is part 3 of our mini series on streaks. And before I jump into adult learning, I want to quickly connect the dots from where we've been. In part 1 of this video series, we looked at the research from Katy Milkman's book, How to Change, linked below, and the idea that streaks turn big goals into small daily wins. They reward effort, not just outcomes. They help protect momentum, and they're structured but forgiving, which makes them more resilient in real life. In part 2, we talked about streak stacking, attaching a behavior to something that already happens. And honestly, maybe that's why you're here today. Maybe you stacked this video into one of your daily habits. If so, I'm so proud of us. Milkman gives us the behavioral science foundation for all of this: streaks, cues, flexibility, momentum. But now I want to shift from behavior change theory into my primary focus, which is adult learning and higher education practice, because I think this is where streaks get really interesting. Before we go straight into higher ed, let's look at 2 platforms that are extremely good at sustaining engagement: Duolingo and Peloton. They both use streaks, but not just one streak, multiple streaks, daily streaks, weekly streaks, challenge streaks, badges, milestone rewards, social streaks with friends, and most importantly, grace mechanisms. For a grace mechanism, Duolingo does something really smart. They built in streak freezes. Streak freezes mean you can miss a day without losing your streak, but only if you've earned that protection through prior consistency. And this connects directly back to what we talked about in part 2 and to Katy Milkman's research, especially the flexible versus rigid structure studies like the gym going experiment we discussed. Remember, when people had to show up at exactly the same time, habits broke more easily. When they were rewarded just for getting it done, follow-through lasted longer. It's the same principle here. A streak freeze adds grace inside structure. It protects momentum without removing accountability. And behaviorally, it matters because it acts like medicine against what Milkman calls the "oh hell with it" effect. That moment when a slip up turns into a full-blown abandonment. Without grace, one missed day becomes, well, I blew it, why continue? On Duolingo, that would look like streak loss and platform drop-off. In higher education, that looks like attrition. These small grace mechanisms don't weaken habits, they actually end up protecting them. Now, let's bring this directly into adult learning and the higher education practice. Most adult learners are balancing work, family, fatigue, and time scarcity. And as educators, we already know something important from decades of research. More time on task and more touch points with content increase learning and persistence. But most of our systems, especially inside major LMS platforms like D2L, Brightspace, or Blackboard, they're built to measure performance outcomes more than engagement behaviors. We measure grades, submission timestamps, completion. But we don't always reinforce engagement patterns that lead to success. Why not? So here's the design question. What if learning platforms supported streak style reinforcement for behaviors like daily learning touches, discussion board participation streaks, consecutive days with course logins, time on task streaks, peer support contributions, helpful reply recognition, and community signals like likes or endorsements? This would create a more organic exposure and the way that our adult learners are experiencing streaks on other platforms. So let me just clarify something. I'm not talking about replacing grades. I'm talking about reinforcing engagement behaviors. This isn't about making learning silly. It's about making effort visible, especially for busy adult learners who are balancing real life. Small wins build persistence. And if you made it through all 3 of these videos, congratulations! You are officially on a In the Margins with Dr. Karen McGregor streak, and I want to shine my light on that. So I have a final margin question for you. Where could we add streaks in learning systems that support and don't pressure persistence? Tell me in the comments, like and subscribe to keep your learning streak going. I'll see you next time.